As a first step, remember anytime you work with averages, you want to think about taking the information you're given and plugging it into the average formula, which is, of course, the sum of the terms divided by the number of terms equals the average. For example here, if we're talking about the average of w, x, y, and z, well, their sum looks like this. And there's 4 terms, so their average should equal the sum divided by the number. And likewise, the average of x, y, and z, well, the sum of the terms looks like this. And there are 3 terms. So the average should equal the x plus the y plus the z divided by 3. Now, our problem tells us that these two averages are equal. So what we know is that the w plus the x plus the y plus the z over 4 is equal to the x plus the y plus the z over 3. Now, if you're not sure where to go from here, a little bit of a hint. Anytime you work with equations, if your equations have denominators, get rid of them. Doing so is always going to make the problem easier for you. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to cross multiply to get rid of our denominators. And doing so gives us the following. Of course, we can simplify this information, right? If we distribute the 3, we get this. And if we distribute the 4, we get this. Now, if you're still not sure where to go from here, hint. Think about combining your like terms. Combining your like terms will always lead to something simpler. For example, here, notice that we have x's and y's and z's on both sides of this equation. Let's subtract 3x and 3y and 3z from both sides of the equation. And if we do, we get 3w equals x plus y plus z. As a next step, look back at the question. The question wants us to express or represent w in terms of x, y, and z. Whenever you're asked to solve for or express or represent one variable in terms of others, that simply means solve for the variable that you've been asked about. Here, they want us to represent w. That's really just code for solve for w, get w alone. Well, the only thing we have to do here to get w alone is to divide both sides of this equation by 3. And as we can see, w is the equivalent of x plus y plus z over 3. And there you go. That's the reason here that the second answer is the correct answer.